Hi Pisces, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of September. The month of August was very hectic and unpredictable. There was very strong Uranian and Aquarian energy. Uranus is the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius, and Jupiter, which is the grand benefic and expands whatever it comes into contact with, re-entered the fixed air sign of Aquarius on July 28th. Now, it had briefly been transiting in your sign from May 13th until July 28th. And Jupiter rules Pisces in ancient astrology, and it loves being there. I did notice that it expanded the emotions and the sensitivity while in Pisces, but it's very compassionate and creative and beautiful while in Pisces. And it will re-enter your sign on December 29th. And it's going to be there on and off at the end of the year, starting on December 29th. And it'll be there until May 10th. And then it'll be in Aries for a few months. But it's going to be very creative and magical while in your sign. But when it re-entered Aquarius, it re-entered your house of dreams and endings, things that you maybe need to release and purge. The Sun, Venus, and Mercury were all transiting in Leo, and they squared Uranus and brought more unexpected news and changes and endings. And then Uranus, which is the planet of brilliance and surprise, station retrograde on August 19th at 14 degrees and 47 minutes of the fixed earth sign of Taurus. And you felt that energy 5 days before and 5 days after. And this was in your house of information, news, and communication. And there were very big news stories that were very startling and chaotic, and in our own lives, in people's individual lives, because anything at 15 degrees of the fixed signs hits everybody. And the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And this hit us all when Uranus stationed retrograde on August 19th at 14 degrees and 47 minutes, just right by the world point. And so as we begin the month of September, it's not as hectic and chaotic. The Sun and Mars are both transiting in the mutable earth sign of Virgo in your house of relationships and partnerships. There's a big focus for you as you begin the month to focus on your relationships, because Mars takes approximately 2 years to transit, and it will be there until September 14th. So really focusing, and the sun shines wherever it's transiting. So it's in your house of relationships. Mercury, which is communication and information, as well as Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty and how you earn money. They're both transiting in the cardinal air sign of Libra in your house of unblocked wounds, intimacy, loss, and joint resources and debt. And Mercury will retrograde at the end of the month in this area of your chart. So this gives you an opportunity to repair your finances, fix up debt if you have any, but also focusing on opening yourself to intimacy and to being open to other people. If that's been something you've been walled off in some way, it's readdressing that area of your life. So as we begin September, on September 2nd, Mars opposes Neptune at 1:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Neptune is transiting in your house of self and immediate environment. This could bring confusion in your actions with other people. Maybe you're feeling drained from others and need to get rest. Better use would be maybe focusing on September 4th. On that day, Mercury, which is the planet of communication, forms a beautiful trine to Saturn at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that is productive for you for figuring out your dreams and how to manifest, and it's just a beneficial energy for focusing on doing healing work as well. So, and purging what no longer serves you. On September 5th, we have more challenging energy because Venus squares Pluto at 11:07 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And Pluto is the cosmic compost. It eliminates what no longer serves you. This can definitely bring power struggles in relationships. It could bring breakups, and it could bring up perhaps there are issues around relationships you haven't been facing, and in some way it makes you face something that you don't want to be in the dark about something. You want to know if it's working for you or not. And then on September 6th, there are a lot better aspects that day, and that is a day to circle in your calendar. It is the day of a new moon. So at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars forms a beautiful trine to Uranus, and this occurs at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's good for innovative action with your communication with your friends, with doing healing work, and I think that is a good, very innovative energy for all of us. And then Venus forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter at 9:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and those are the two luckiest planets. Venus is in its dignity in the sign of Libra, trining Jupiter in Aquarius, and for you finding your value and your self-worth as you do healing work. And then the new moon occurs at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 14 degrees and 28 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. And this annual new moon takes place in your house of relationships and partnerships. Excellent day for doing the law of abundance, setting intentions, focusing on partnering in different ways, partnering with yourself, partnering professionally, socially. If you're single, it's an excellent time for meeting new people. You're also doing some inner work at the same time, but this is a very opportune new moon. And right after the moon, the sun forms a beautiful trine to Uranus at 9:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that is also helpful energy around friendships and partnerships and connecting well with other people and with your thoughts and ideas. And then on September 7th, Mercury forms an opposition to Chiron, the wounded healer, at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on September 8th at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And this is more of an opportunity to focus on your finances, on your wounds, on things that are blocked for you, but also it's an opportunity for you to also find your inner strength in this, because it has been a tough time. But Chiron is transiting Aries, which is very fearless. Aries is ruled by Mars, so finding the strength in that if you're able. And then on September 10th, Venus changes signs and enters the fixed water sign of Scorpio, where it will be until October 7th. And for you, it's transiting in your house of hope and manifesting and publicity and promotion, as well as teaching and learning. It's an excellent time for taking workshops and taking classes. If you have your own business, it's an excellent time for promoting yourself with social media and publicizing yourself. And Venus in Scorpio is technically in its detriment, but it's in a fellow water sign, so it's a very creative energy and very harmonious for you. On September 14th, pardon me, the Sun opposes Neptune at 5:21 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Neptune is transiting in your sign, and that could bring a haze in communication with other people. Maybe you're feeling really drained by others. Tap into your intuition, because I have a feeling your intuition is very strong at that time, but it may be that it's difficult to deal with others. And later that day at 8:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mars changes signs and enters the cardinal air sign of Libra, where it will be until October 30th. And it's transiting in your house of inner healing work and debt and joint resources, as well as the house of empowerment. Finding the courage to fight for yourself in tentative times. Mars is technically in its detriment in the sign of Aries, but for you, it will be transiting in the Scorpio house, which is the 8th house. And Mars does rule Scorpio in ancient astrology. So that gives you courage to fight and to heal yourself. Do a lot of purging work. Do a lot of cleansing. Try to do some manifesting, but also getting rid of clutter, getting rid of negative thought patterns, focusing in that way if you're able. And that should be a good focus with Mars in your 8th house of healing. And then on September 16th, the Sun forms a beautiful trine to Pluto at 9:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's a very helpful energy for finding the courage to up-level yourself and heal yourself. And then at 11:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and on September 17th at 2:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Venus squares Saturn. And that is more of a reality check of what is working with friends or groups and what isn't working, and how you can be more realistic in achieving your goals, which we all need to be at this time. And then on September 20th, there's a full moon in your sign. I think you're the most psychic of all of the signs, and when the moon's in Pisces, a lot of strong prophetic messages and dreams can come. So the moon meets up with Neptune at 7:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can be very intuitive and psychic, but very sensitive, very, very vulnerable energy. And then Mercury forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter at 6:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that helps to bring encouragement during this difficult moon, because I have a feeling this moon people will really be feeling the loss and feeling the pain that we're all feeling collectively. And the full moon occurs at 7:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 28 degrees and 14 minutes of the mutable water sign of Pisces. So it occurs in your sign. Hopefully it brings fruition and completion to something you've been working on. Maybe you've been working on a project and it brings it to closure, and you achieve something, and that's great. But realistically, this full moon is on the fixed star known as Shiat, which is the final degree of Pisces, and it's associated with the Titanic and with shipwrecks and with loss and sorrow. So recognizing a lot of people will feel lost, tapping into Mercury trining Jupiter, which gives us all a sense of hope on how we connect with others to heal, and that's where we need to go with this. And then the equinox occurs, 2 days later on September 22nd. The equinox occurs at 3:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's when the sun crosses the celestial equator, and in the northern hemisphere it heads south, and that's the beginning of the fall equinox, when the day and night are approximately the same amount of length, the same amount of time. And in the southern hemisphere, the sun is headed north, and it's the beginning of the spring equinox. And I cast the chart for the fall equinox, and it has Capricorn rising at approximately 14 degrees of Capricorn, and speaks back to when Saturn stationed direct in September of 2019. What were you trying to accomplish at that time? On the day of the equinox, Mercury squares Pluto at 9:12 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring power struggles in communication. It can bring endings. It can definitely uncover hidden information, and it's not about stepping down. It's definitely about owning your power. The moon will be at the cardinal fire sign of Aries, just a degree off from the world point, because it'll be at 21 degrees of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. Anything at 22 degrees of the cardinal signs is at the world point. That hits people on the world stage, but also impacts every one of us. And those signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And this speaks back to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that occurred on January 12th of 2020 and brought down the structures of our world and changed the world forever. So now what can we do to eliminate the toxic thinking so that we can move ahead and empower ourselves through others and through building community in this new age of Aquarius? And on September 23rd, Venus opposes Uranus at 5:41 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can bring excitement in your travel, and hopefully bring some fun. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. On the 25th of September, Mars forms a helpful trine to Saturn at 5:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that can be really good for getting things done and for taking solid action. And then on the 26th of September at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mercury stations retrograde at 25 degrees and 28 minutes of the cardinal air sign of Libra, and it also does so on September 27th at 1:10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And Mercury will be in Libra until November 6th, so it'll be retrograde in your house of healing work and transformation and empowerment, and also debt and joint resources. So really taking a look at this area of your life. especially around your finances and what's really important to you in your intimate life as well. In 2018, Venus retrograded on October 5th at 10 degrees of Scorpio, and it's stationed direct at 25 degrees of Libra on November 17th. Mercury now helps you to revisit this story of how you can achieve what you were trying to build at that time. In the fall of 2018, Venus and the Sun met up on October 26th at 3 degrees of Scorpio in your house of hope and manifestation. So now readdressing what you want to create, what the vision is that you want to have in your life, and not giving up on your dreams. On September 29th, Venus forms a beautiful trine to Neptune in your sign, and this occurs at 12:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's really good for romance and manifesting your dreams. So it's a really nice energy. The Sun trines Saturn later that day at 6:19 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that brings structure to your manifesting. And then on September 30th, Venus squares Jupiter at 7:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that could bring a lot of manifesting work and dreams, but I don't think that's a bad aspect. Those are the two lucky planets of the zodiac. I wish you a lot of luck. You got a preview of Jupiter in your sign from May 13th until July 28th of this year, and Jupiter will re-enter your sign on December 29th. So now is a time to reassess how you can be most constructive in getting things accomplished and taking the classes and learning what it is you need to learn, connecting with those you need to connect with so you can achieve your goals. Good luck, Pisces, and thank you.